Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel to check out today's video. And guys, I just got off the lake. I had an on the water lesson today at Table Rock Lake, and guys, I saw something today that really disturbed me and should disturb you as well after I get done explaining this. So we're going to go over that in today's video, and curious to get your guys' opinion on it. And man, did I get a sunburn today. It's like it was bluebird sky out, hot, bright. I forgot my sunscreen at home, so I got a little bit of sunburn going on right now. Also, guys, if you are interested in an on-the-water lesson with me, you can book one by just going to my Facebook page, Randy Blaukat Professional Angler. Just shoot me a private message. And also, guys, big thank you to everybody that's taken time to hit that subscribe button this week to Intuitive Angling. Had some really good channel growth. I really appreciate that, and big thanks for me and my family if you've done that. Okay guys, like I said, on the water lesson today, and I've talked about this a little bit before, but I want to explain to you what happened today. Now, a lot of you guys that follow the channel, you know that I've spent thousands of days on Table Rock. I started fishing it when my mom and dad started taking me down here on vacation back in 1967. I fished hundreds of tournaments here, thousands of days on the water. I fished it my whole life, and I fished it every month of the year my whole life. And one of the things about Table Rock Lake is that it's a very seasonal. It's a seasonal lake in terms of there's a lot of predictability in the seasonal movement and patterns of fish. And every single month you've got things that always work, and I've got areas that always work. So anyway, at the time of filming this video, it's the last week of May, and guys, I have probably about a dozen areas on Table Rock Lake that I'm not talking about some May time, but every single year for decades and decades and decades, the last week of May, I can go into these areas and catch a bunch of fish. And I'll go into these areas, and like right now, this is the time of year the bluegill are really spawning. Bass are still up shallow, garden fry, feeding on bluegill, and I've caught them for 40 years in the same places. Guys, we rolled through those areas today, some of the dozen spots that I have caught them every single year, and there's nothing there. There's no bluegill, there's no sign of life, there's no shad, there's no bass. We didn't catch any bass today in those areas that I have caught them for 40 years in a row. Literally 40 years in a row, they're completely gone. We had to wind up, the fish we caught today, I had to move offshore and catch them deeper, which is normally something you don't have to do. But normally these places that I'm talking about, these are shallow post-spawn areas that are in less than 5 or 6 feet of water, where there's a heavy amount of bluegill spawning and the bass are just in their garden fry. They're not there. Those fish are gone. So I have talked about this a lot, that I've noticed the precipitous decline in the shallow bass at Table Rock Lake. I've talked about this a lot the last 2 years. Guys, the shallow population of bass at Table Rock that have been there for the past 50 years that I've been fishing the lake do not live there anymore. And that is why you're seeing the live scopers completely dominate Table Rock Lake. It's like Table Rock Lake is nothing but a live scope lake now. It's like if you don't live scope, you can't compete in the tournaments at all, 12 months out of the year. And the problem that you have here, and I've talked about this a little bit before, is people are catching fish out off the bank with the live scope at Table Rock Lake that they didn't even know were there before. And they're still catching decent bags in tournaments, so it creates this illusion that Table Rock is okay. Guys, Table Rock Lake is not okay. I can promise you, if they had a big BFL tournament or whatever next weekend at Table Rock Lake and there was no spotlighting allowed, guys, the weights would be pathetic. Because those fish, if you try to catch bass at Table Rock Lake, not just now, but about any time out of the year, except when every bass is on the bed, you're gonna suck. I just don't think the fish are there. I don't think that they've moved out off into deeper water. I just think those fish are gone. I think a lot of them have been killed by delayed mortality in tournaments. I think there's a hell of a lot more people that keep and eat bass than what people realize. I think there's a lot of bass eaters out there, and Table Rock Lake it's a clear water lake, so a lot of people fish at night. And guys, I have seen just countless numbers of bass carcasses at the boat ramp where guys have went night fishing, which they're a lot easier to catch at night. They move up, those deeper fish move up shallow, and they fillet these bass out at the launch ramps, and they're gone at daylight. So I think the combination of way too many tournaments, people keeping eating bass, the delayed mortality from forward-facing sonar creating these barotrauma issues where they're damaging the fish's internal organs, and they look fine when you catch them, but 2 days later they're dead. I think the bass population at Table Rock Lake has been devastated. And I can say this, I've earned the right to say this, guys, because I have fished this lake literally for 50 years. I've got thousands of days on the lake. I got thousands more days on this lake fishing than the freaking biologists that say the lake is okay. It's not okay. Go out there right now at Table Rock Lake, and you take whatever you want to fish with, and you go out there and you fish shallower than 10 feet. You're not going to be catching jack squat, and you hardly ever do. I've seen this over and over again where I've had to, the last 2 years, guys, I have had to move into areas that are a lot more subtle and a lot more inobvious and a lot deeper in order to catch fish. And it's not because those fish have moved out offshore, it's because those bass are not there. And this is not an isolated incident to Table Rock Lake. This is going on all over the country. I can promise you, after I do this video, you look through the comment section and there's going to be people say, I've seen the same thing on my home lake. People say this all the time, and it should be a wake-up call. I mean, it should be a wake-up call to all the fisheries managers, all the conservation departments, that the way that they are conducting the creel studies and the way that they are managing these fisheries is not working. And until you take forward-facing sonar out of the equation, you will never get an accurate representation of the quality of, or the health of the fishery. Because if you have a conservation agent or a wildlife officer or fisheries management person that meets some guys at a boat ramp and asks them how many bass they catch, until you find out exactly how many bass they caught using forward-facing sonar versus not, you're never going to get an accurate representation, because every one of those bass that are taken with forward-facing sonar, those bass would have not been caught 5 years ago. And the bass that would have been caught that are normally as in part of that creel study, they're just not there. And if you don't believe me, guys, I can go next time you're down at Table Rock Lake, you go out there with just your traditional bass fishing lures and you fish less than 10 feet deep and see how many bass you catch. You'll find out real quick what I'm talking about here. And it's not that people aren't keeping up with the times or keeping up with the latest trends and lures. I got all the latest lures, guys. I've got good equipment. I've got the latest and greatest lures to fish for bass with, but it doesn't make any difference how great your lures are if there's no bass where you're fishing at. And that's what happened today. These areas out there that I have traditionally just whacked them in, not once in a while, I'm talking about every single end of May, guys, I have whacked them in these areas. It's dead in there. There's nothing there. And I can promise you guys that if there's anyone else out there watching this video that fishes Table Rock and has fished Table Rock as long as I do and does not use forward-facing sonar, you know what I'm talking about. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. So anyway, I hope whoever needs to see this video sees it, especially fisheries managers, because we got a crisis on our hands. And you can stick your head in the sand about it, you can deny the reality about it, but until we start addressing the fact that we have too many bass tournaments, we have too many people keeping and eating bass that are not reporting it, and until we face the reality that forward-facing sonar is destroying our fisheries, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. So anyway, guys, just wanted to throw that out there. Let me know what you guys think about it. Talk later.